Ben Mckay is a 24-year-old stand-up comedian and dumb little baby boy. And you are listening to his podcast. Each episode, Ben uses Reddit to learn life lessons. Today, Ben talks about
University, episode 6, Baby Ben podcast. Thank you for listening. This is the podcast where each episode I take a part of growing up, becoming an adult, and I learn how to do it. I figure it out. I go on Reddit, find some stories, reflect on my own personal experiences. And I picked university today because I feel like I did university wrong. I'm a graduate. I have a Bachelor's of Arts from the University of Waterloo. Very undeserved, to be honest, but I do technically have it. A major in religious studies, minor in philosophy. Now I have a podcast, so that's something. I don't know, though. I think, honestly, I might go back to school again, though. Holy shit, comedy's not working out. I bummed my little dick off last night in Markham, Ontario. It was awesome. Getting heckled and heckled. I just was clearing out some space on the SD card for this camera. I brought the camera to the show last night. I watched a couple seconds of the clip. I was like, oh, delete this. Just bombing. Just getting heckled. Finally, they shut up, tell a joke. No one laughs. It was tough. It was a tough one. But whatever. Learning experience. It's too late for me to learn any new skills now. I went to University of Waterloo, though. I went UW. I'm a warrior. I'm a University of Waterloo warrior. But I went to McGill, actually, first. I did 1 year at McGill. That's in Montreal. The Harvard of Canada, they say, at that university and nowhere else. I went there for 1 year. It was hard to get in. I had really good grades coming out of high school because I took really easy classes. So I had good grades, so I got in there for arts. And I missed the deadline to go to residence, though. I wanted to stay in the dorms. I needed a place to stay. But I missed the deadline, and I can't remember. Maybe I missed the deadline, but also it was really expensive, so I was looking for the cheap one. They had this sort of half-affiliated dorm that was with the school, which was called part of the Presbyterian College. And I had no business staying at this place. It was cheap. For, dorms, it was $800 a month, which for dorms is crazy because they're so expensive there. But I thought it was just going to be a regular dorm for cheaper people. But it turned out it was mostly adults who were going back to school to become Presbyterian ministers. So I had a bunch of pastors who were there part-time. It was a lot of people that lived far away, so they'd come for the week and they'd stay in these dorms and then they'd be gone for the weekends. But strange. Not really the full college experience, you could say. And I was out to lunch. I was a bit lonely out there. I made some friends, but not people I liked that much. We never got that close. So I would spend a lot of time in my room. I was boozing like crazy, though. Boozing, smoking a ton of weed. I would smoke in my room. I'd also smoke cigarettes in that room, which you're really not supposed to do. But I had a big window, so I thought it was cool. But then they kept sending me emails being like, stop smoking in your apartment. We don't know who's doing it, but whoever's smoking in the dorm, you have to stop, right? Even though if you put us all in a line, it'd be like straight edge looking minister guy, newly landed immigrant from Africa who's just happy to be there, and then me, boy who's high all the time. I wonder who was smoking in their room. I had that big window, though, and it was right out onto the street, right near campus, too. And sometimes at night, I was crazy back then. At 18, I had this confidence. I'm not sure. Where sometimes if I didn't want to go to the bathroom, I didn't walk all the way down the hall. They had, the joined bathrooms. I would just pee out the window. That's crazy. I would just pee onto the street. I didn't like it that first year, but then I transferred. I went to Waterloo, which is where I'm from. But then a couple of my friends who had went to different schools, we all transferred back, and we got a place in our hometown. We got a little apartment, and that was bad. That was my closest to the college experience, but I just didn't really go to a ton of classes, to be honest. And We lived off campus, and I would just hang out with my friends, like other people I knew who were locals who weren't going to the school. So that wasn't really college experience, but we were partying as a group again, so it felt more like my college. I did 1 year there of really doing it, maybe one semester where I really did it. Then I started in another semester, and then I started really doing comedy hard, and that's when I stopped caring about school so much. I failed an entire. I was taking 5 classes, I remember, and then I started just going into comedy hard, and then I failed all of those classes. I just stopped doing them from like a third through the semester. I just stopped doing it. I didn't do it. I didn't go. I didn't submit anything. Although somehow I did pass one of them. One of the 5, I still got like a 60, which I literally didn't log on to the thing or go to a class after the first 2 months. I don't know how I ended up passing that. I think that guy was just like, I'm not failing any more kids. So I made it through that one. Don't even remember what the class was. But then after I failed that one, then pandemic started to hit. So then I started, I did some more online. I did a few more courses online, just part-time. Then pandemic hit, so I did a bunch of online classes. And then I just finished last year. So I did finish, although online is crazy. That was just plagiarism on plagiarism. I didn't actually do or learn anything. Everyone's like, oh, the students are so lazy when they take online classes. They just cheat or whatever. And it's like, that's true. But also, the professors aren't putting in much more work than the students on these. Like, I had one where every week the professor would email us and he'd be like, here's this week's lecture, right? And then it would just be like a YouTube link to a video of a different professor giving a lecture. It's like, this is available for free to anyone, and you didn't make it. You just showed us a YouTube video for our education. That's crazy. I always say that because I do live comedy. That's like you guys buy tickets to a comedy show. You know what I mean? You get there, and then instead of putting on a show, we just like wheeled out a little TV cart, played you guys season 1, episode 1 of Seinfeld, and send you home. Just the not even hard, just the pilot. That's all you got. It's not even one of the good ones. It's a scam. But I do have lots of Reddit stories, and we'll get into them. Okay, first one. Okay, this literally happened a half an hour ago. Was posted 4 years ago. This is a half an hour and 4 years ago. Happened a half hour ago. I heard screaming and banging from my dorm hallways at like 2 a.m. Initially, I was just weirded out. Weird noises happen all the time. And then it continued, and it sounded like she was shouting for help. So I got worried it was assault or something. So I got up, grabbed my trombone, which is the biggest swingable thing I could easily grab, and a Swiss Army knife. I cautiously approached. Fortunately, it was just someone who got trapped in the stairwell because she forgot her access card and was banging the door really loudly. I may have overreacted a bit, but I'd say these shouts sounded more like someone trapped in the stairwell. I do feel a bit braver coming out of it, but I'm still shaking a bit. I've never fought anyone before, so this was the first time I've ever even considered doing anything like that. I'm probably not going to sleep much tonight. Good for you. That's awesome. You heard a need, you went to help with your trombone. Worst 2 weapons of all time. A trombone and a knife. I don't know. That being said, I think you might be the bravest trombone player to have ever lived. Some dorks historically playing that instrument. You get that, you get up there, you start playing, disorient them, boom, knock him out with the slider, and then get your little knife. You marched in there like a little marching band. You go, dun, 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 dun. I love that. Also, college kids are crazy. College kids are so inconsiderate. We're that age, 18. We're going, oh, I forgot my key card. Probably just bang on the door really loud and wake someone up. Surely there was a security person you could have called. You just didn't want to wait. No way you didn't have your phone. You couldn't have just called one person. You probably woke up the whole hallway. That's awesome, though. Hell yeah. Good for you, trombone guy. Okay, lessons from this one. If you ever need to go into battle, get your woodwinds ready, I guess. Get the brass instruments out. Someone's like, hey, man, I'm going to kick your ass after school. Go get a trumpet or something. And if you're ever locked out or something, pretend you're being attacked. Maybe play full boy who cried wolf here or whatever. Someone will jump up. If he needs to get someone out of bed, probably you're going to have to act like you're being murdered. Story number 2. The guy who lived above my roommate and I was really loud. He had a desk chair with wheels and would roll around the room instead of standing up. He would always scream at the TV until 3 a.m. while gaming. We asked him to be quiet many times, but he never did. One time towards the end of the semester, he was being especially noisy, and we weren't entirely sure why. My roommate was annoyed and started pounding on the wall with his fist to try to annoy the guy back. This apparently was not acceptable to the guy living above us, so he must have gotten on his bed and started jumping as violently as possible. That's when our ceiling caved in. My roommate, a friend, and I jumped into action. We used a broom with books underneath it to prop up the drop ceiling, which would have completely fallen if we didn't. We started connecting it back up and then realized that a screw would come out of the main beam. Whatever moron put the screw on in the 70s had put it on the edge of the beam where it was half out. As we were fixing it, our RA came in yelling at us and saying we needed to wait for maintenance to come. My friend replied, I'm trying to prevent the whole damn ceiling from falling in. Should I let it fall on us and then let maintenance fix it? Then the RA shut up. The dude who lived above us came down, saw the ceiling, and laughed, and then left. The RA didn't say anything to him because he didn't mean to make it fall in. We fixed it ourselves, and maintenance never even bothered to come check on it. We wrote when we moved out on the ceiling, we wrote, this ceiling tried to kill us in 2018 on the main beam so that those in the future may remember our sorrow. It was a premium experience. Wow. That's a crazy story. Crazy you casually fixed the ceiling. You included a lot of details being like, oh, we wrote on this beam after, ha ha ha. But also one sentence, we fixed the entire ceiling. It's a pretty big job. Why are you in college if you're that handy? Get a trade job. You're gonna make way more money. If you got that kind of, you can casually fix a roof in the middle of the night. Throw a ceiling back together. You're a genius. Buy a van. Throw your name on the side. You're a roofer now. You're a ceiling boy. That is crazy, though. That it's crazy that we're all like, oh, there's building codes or whatever. And we all pretend that's real. But it feels like anywhere you live, there's such a good chance that whole thing implodes at any time. Like you live it, pretty much your options, most people, unless you're rich, your options are you live in an old house. Like this, I live in an old house. Or you live in a condo building. In an old house, it could crumble just because it's old, whatever. There weren't codes as much back then or whatever. And a new place that's like a big condo, big corporate thing, they'll cut every corner they possibly can. They're above the law a lot of the times. They're putting in so many units. So either way, your whole place could explode on you at any time. And that's just life, I guess. I lived at that place I lived when my friends and I moved back to Waterloo. We had a little patio on the side, and we used to throw big parties. And sometimes we were on like the third floor. You had to walk all the way down. So people would smoke. Everyone would go out on that patio. I remember there's one time, it was maybe like here to here. It was a small patio. But we would we'd get like 30 people all rammed on there, all smoking. We were all doing drugs, going out for our little smokes, little panic smokes. But and then the thing would flex. The whole patio would, sometimes we'd get on and be like, you'd get to that threshold after like 15 people would get on it, you'd feel it start to bend in the middle. And for some reason, we always thought it was like a funny joke. I don't know why no one was worried about it falling, because it's super good at falling. That place was strange at that, though. And also on the second floor, when you walked down, there was like 3 stories to walk down. The second floor had a door that just opened on the second part. Remember, there was a girl leaving our place. What? This girl I was seeing at the time, and she got down to the second one. She opened that door and then just walked out. It was dark out, so she didn't look, and she just stepped out, just expecting ground, slammed right down to the first floor. She was okay. She just a little bit of bruise. It wasn't a big thing, but the visual is so funny when we have someone kind of like walking out. It was late at night too, leaving our place, so we're hanging out, and slamming the door, taking a step into what you think is, because that's not like a braced fall. You have no idea what happened. You got one leg still in the door. You just tumble. That's why every time I step out of a door, if I can't see, I do the blind man. What's coming up here? I feel the ground before I let go of my next foot. That place was disgusting, though. We had that place. We used to throw these big parties, but we thought it was like a funny joke to leave all the dishes out. And we'd leave them all out. Like, we'd have the whole sink full of dishes down the side, around on the table. I'll see if I can find an old video. I remember we had a video once. It went like all the way onto the couch. It was hundreds. We had like 3 full sets of dishes too, so we used all of them before we cleaned them. It was gross. My one buddy there, he would eat oatmeal a lot of days, but he would eat like half a bowl of oatmeal and then leave it, and then he would stack all the bowls up on each other. You could eat oatmeal a few times in a day, so they'd harden to each other. Or you could pick up the top bowl. All these other, like an accordion of bowls, were all cemented together with with microwave oatmeal. Gang, 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 gang. In terms of weapons, a trombone, take the oatmeal accordion over that. You could knock anyone out with that. Those parties were fun though. We had some weird roommates there. We had a couple of people changed in the one room. It was me and my good buddy, and then we had a few different people in the other room. We had this couple living there for a while, and the one girl, she had rats. She had these pet rats, which were cute, but I don't know if you ever played with a rat. They're like cute when you're looking at it, but then you get that tail, that little coil tail on the back. There's something biologically in you when you see that, and you're like, ugh, you know what I mean? That just feels like disease, that little coil rat tail. It's gross. But the one girl had rats. The other girl did tattoos out of the apartment. That was what she was doing. She didn't have like a tattoo license, but she was learning. So she'd have people come over and do tattoos on them. And sometimes even at parties, she would, people would go into her room and do a little stick and poke. So she actually had the gun too for a bit. I remember my buddy and I, who we lived there, one night we were like, but we're getting tattoos. You and me, we're going to get tattoos. We're going to get each other's names tattooed in each other's handwriting. Because we love each other, right? Best boys. But the thing is, me and my buddy, both named Ben. So I have my own name tattooed on my ass. It's small, but, it's there. Anyways, lessons. I didn't do the lessons for the dorm story. Don't live in residence. Or do. Some people love it. I didn't really do it. I don't know. Some people, they said they had fun. It's crazy money, though. And I feel like you got to be kind of a psycho to enjoy that. So many rules also. It's basically like live with your parents if you can. They're all mad at you there anyways. So lessons, live in residence if you want to. I don't know. Okay, story number 3. I tried hooking up with an exchange student. We went to a bar. We ended up dancing and making out. Then at some point we went outside to talk, and she asked, "Do you want to fuck me?" And I was drunkenly agreeing. She put her hands in her pants, then showed me her hand, which had blood on it, then wiped it on the wall of the bar, then called me gay for turning her down. That's awesome, dude. Okay, be honest. Are you gay? 'Cause why the hell did you turn it down? That was about to be the craziest sex of your life. That's hot as hell. Time to try the foreign cuisine, baby. Ooh, not clipping this one. That's wild, though. There's something about being that age, like college age. Everyone seems like most people. There's just like a sexual confidence that is so undeserved. You know what I mean? To be like making out and then be like, I'm gonna show this guy my period. You're gay if you don't like this. I went into the comments. People were like, "Where is she from?" She's from Belarus. Yeah, and I looked it up. Only like $600 to fly to Belarus from here. Let's go. They're crazy in Belarus. That's confidence. You probably have a lot of sex as a foreign exchange student. I feel like no matter where you're from, being that exotic, because that people are fucking a lot in that time of your life anyways. But then to be the exchange, Eastern Europe though. Do you think maybe the more bland a country's food is, the more overcompensating they're doing with weird sex stuff? No, that's England. That's a bad example. British people, they're famously boring in sex and food. Also, Kama Sutra, India, that's very flavorful. All right, well that's a bad theory. Maybe Eastern Europeans. I hope Belarus is in Eastern Europe. I'm questioning that one a little bit. Is it? Wait. Belarus is part of Eastern Europe. Hell yeah. Okay, good for me. I gotta trust myself more. Oh, why did I look that up on my phone? On the computer's. I reached over there to get my phone. No, all right. I think Eastern Europe though, they're on something with the like dominatrix stuff. You know what I mean? I feel like there's like Putin's got a curriculum for sure in his school. I'll be like, how to cuck any sexual partner. Anyways, lessons from this. Belarus sounds like a pretty good time. It's like they're crazy over there in Belarus. I'm joking about that. I would be so terrified if that happened to me, you know? Not like I'm against, not that periods are good. Like, you know? Not that, okay. I just mean that would intimidate me too, man. Yeah. But lessons. Don't do anything you're not comfortable with sexually. And that doesn't make you gay, but you might be, and that's also okay. College is a time of self-exploration. Story number 3, 4. I actually don't think some of these are some of these are about more. Some of these are more about learning than others. Some of the episodes I'm genuinely like, I wonder what it's like to be an adult. This one's more just like, it's crazy if you wipe period blood on the wall. Okay, story number 4 from Bazooka Joe. I went to college in Minneapolis and worked at the convenience store across the street from my apartment. One day, these 2 Japanese girls brought a bunch of ice cream to my counter and we talked for a bit. I found out they were visiting from Osaka and disliked the girl they were crashing with because she was boring. So I invited them out to see a local band. We ended up having a great time and went back to my place to party more. My friend Mike, who was with us, went home eventually and the girls jumped on me as soon as I locked the door. We hooked up and the whole time I was in disbelief because for a white guy, having a threesome with 2 Japanese girls is cartoon level bucket list. Also, having a threesome wasn't as intimidating as I had always thought. I had just thrown out all my furniture, including a couch and bed, because some asshole put a great-looking couch riddled with bed bugs by the dumpster and no sign, and I unknowingly brought it up to my apartment. We had all crashed in a pile of blankets and sleeping pads after fooling around. I was worried that in the morning I would have to explain to the girls and they would run away grossed out, but they were totally cool and understanding. They hated the girl they were supposed to be staying with that much, so they ended up staying with me, bringing all their luggage down to my place in my unfurnished apartment. They stayed the rest of the time they were in Minneapolis with me and cleaned my apartment, bought booze for me, and cooked delicious Japanese stew for me. I offered to drive them to the airport as it was the least I could do. On the way to the on the way to the highway, one of them made me pull over at a furniture store and bought me a futon bed. The best thing that happened to me in college. If you're out there, thank you, Minami, and now. I offered to drive them to the airport as it was the least I could do. On the way to the highway, one of them made me pull over at a furniture store and bought me a futon bed. It was the best thing that happened to me in college. If you're out there, thank you. Wow. Okay. A lot. See what I mean about the sexual confidence thing, though? There's like something goes over you in those years, and maybe that's when we're actually supposed to be reproducing, because this guy's working at the convenience store ends up having a threesome. That's rare, right? As you get older, like I'm 24 now. I'm not that much older, but I work a minimum wage job sometimes. I clean cars at Enterprise. And even once you just get past that age and you're working a low-level job like that, no one even makes eye contact with you, let alone fucks you with their friend. I'm on this guy's side. I like this guy. I like this story. I feel like we can't just blow past this, though. For a white guy, having a threesome with 2 Japanese girls is cartoon-level bucket list. Don't say it like that. I think you could make that same point in a much nicer way. God, I got to fuck these 2 hentai broads, dude. Cartoon level bucket list. If only. It was strange though, they didn't have tentacles like in the video I watched, but there was 4 arms total, so it was closer than anything I'd had before. I feel like you didn't say that to them because they would have told you off. They sound really nice, but also that's gross, dude. They're still people. Cartoon level. Maybe he just didn't mean it like that. The next line is super redeeming though, where he goes, also, having a threesome wasn't as intimidating as I'd always thought. Aw. This guy's like, I thought I would come twice as fast. I was worried, but I only came 1.5 times as fast, so. And the 2 of them actually made each other come, so it was a lot less pressure on me, actually. But hell yeah, dude, good for you. These 2 girls, they sucked your dick. They made stew for you, and they bought you a fucking bed. Also, though, you're way too quick to be like, there was a beautiful couch that was getting thrown out, and then some asshole didn't tell me it was garbage. People don't just throw out perfect couches. There's always something wrong with a couch you find on the street. You're taking your chances. It's just like having sex with these girls, you know? Like, these girls are willing to have a threesome with you. Maybe consider these are sexually active people. This couch has been used before. Maybe wear a condom before you do. You work at the convenience store. Bag it up, dude. I like that I called him. I was like, it's kind of misogynistic. You said they're cartoon level. And then my next comparison to that was an infested couch. Yeah, scratch that. Take that comparison away. I just mean practice safe couch purchasing. That rocks, though. That's one of the best stories of all time. Lessons. Work at the convenience store. Maybe you can have a threesome. You can get a new bed if you work at the convenience store. Other lessons. Threesomes aren't as intimidating as they seem. It's good to know. Baby, if you're the only one watching this, let's find a 3rd viewer. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want that. I'm just kidding. You're all I need. The episode on university was pretty good. I thought those were some funny stories. I might switch up the format a bit this moving forward. I know I've been dogging on this, but I actually like making these. And if you like them too, I'm happy you're here. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, follow me on Instagram, come see a live show. That's the best. My girlfriend just texted me. I'm going to go talk to her. I'm going to go pick her up, actually. She's in school right now in Chicago, but she's home for the summer, so I'm going to pick her up. And I might even do an episode or 2 with her. I don't know. I got a second mic. We might try it out. Might be really weird. So, I don't know. Plus, if she's on it, I don't know who's going to watch. But anyways, you're the best. Thanks for being here. Goodbye.